Well, Kevin, much like the entire team this season, it seems it's been a year of extremes, and sometimes the hitting has been outstanding, and as we've seen lately, it's been in a real rut. I know that being a hitting coach can be a thankless job at times, but how difficult is it for you to try to keep the guys at least some type of a level playing field for the season?
We go through ups and downs. As that's the course of a 162-game season. But from my standpoint, what I try and do is just try and get them to where they're having good at bats. And we were grinding last night on Norris. I mean, we had his pitch count up close to 105 innings, and guys were really laying off marginal stuff and really having good at bats. We had one hit for a long time and couldn't get the hit that we needed with a man on third with less than 2 outs, or even just put the ball in play in the middle of the field. So, he made pitches when he needed to. I feel like the guys are competing, they're battling, maybe putting a little too much pressure on themselves right now, since we're in a position where we've been chasing that wild card for quite a while. And when you got young, inexperienced kids that are coming up that are filling out the last 3-4 spots in the batting order, they're coming up in critical situations. And when we're at home on a nice little run, we were putting up a lot of runs on the board, they were having good at bats and getting on base and having good results. And I'm not saying now they're not having good at bats, but I feel like they're pressing a little bit and getting a little too excited.
There are some numbers when you look at them for hitting and they make perfect sense, and other ones you're really not sure where they fit in. And if you look at individual hitters and the runners in scoring position average, you see some guys that 1 year will be hitting 400, then the next year they're hitting 200. Is there anything to it? Is it more just a coincidence, or is there really something to a guy being able to hit in that situation?
Well, it just depends on who the guy is and how much experience he's had doing that at this level, and being able to be selective and to be able to have good at bats and stay with a good approach in order to get the job done. And obviously the more experience you have, the easier it is. But a lot of people think that guys need to step up in those situations, and the big sermon that I'm preaching to these guys is you don't want to be a guy who steps up in those situations. You want to be a guy who stays the same all the time, whether there's men in scoring position, nobody on, up by 10, down by 10, tie game in the ninth inning with the bases juiced and 1 out. You want to be the same guy all the time, and it's just a matter of being able to control your emotions, control the anxiety and the stress level, and lock in on your approach and your plan and stick with it, and don't get excited and expand and get big trying to do too much.
A lot of that seems to pertain to the young players too, I would think. And you've got a couple of young guys who are outstanding defensively, and that's probably why they're in there every day, but we're seeing times where they're swinging at pitches that seem so far out of the strike zone. Is that, again, just a matter of them trying to put so much pressure on themselves because they know they need to contribute offensively?
I think so, and I think it's a lack of experience of facing this pitching. We've run up against some good pitching in Baltimore, and they've got a great staff, and they know what they're doing out there, and sometimes that can exploit young players. And you see the top of the order, middle of the order having good at bats, taking what they give them, laying off the marginal pitches, knowing that they're going to throw them chase sliders or fastballs elevated in certain situations. And the more experience you get, and it comes down to just being able to control your emotions and lock in and have that concentration of understanding what the pitcher's going to try and do, and get your pitch and do something with it.
Well, I know it's a never-ending job. It's a busy one. Thanks for taking some time to join us today.
All right. Thanks, Barry.
All right, there is hitting coach Kevin Seitzer.